INFJs don't go on dates just for the sake of dating, and we won't waste our time if we can't see ourselves in a lasting commitment. The entire situation collapsed just as I was ready to move forward after deciding that I liked this guy. A coworker asked if I might meet with one of his clients around a year ago. I accepted, and a 20-something guy who was extraordinarily handsome and pleasant met with me shortly after. Sparks flew, but I thought it would be strange to go looking for him later. I had given up hope of ever seeing him again, but in January of this year, as I grudgingly browsed a dating app, there he was. We matched, much to my shock. And on January 1st, it happened by chance. Or so I thought to my INFJ self. After communicating via text for a week and a half, we met for supper. Even though I wasn't certain that we would get along, I was prepared to give him a try. After a fantastic second date that included coffee and a trip to Barnes and Noble, the introvert's dream, I was completely smitten. We kept texting each other every day and sending each other everything. Music, memes, poetry we could think of. However, he said, "I just wish I wasn't so busy and could spend more time with you." At the conclusion of our third date, I remarked that I would take any opportunity to spend time with him. He continued, "I'll see you around, definitely," as we exchanged hugs. I had the impression that he actually meant goodbye because of the manner he pronounced that term. I was correct, too. Later that night, when he texted me to thank me for dinner, I replied that I had a fantastic time but was curious about what he meant by his final comment. I hate to tell it, but one of our INFJ strengths is the ability to read minds. He stated the following: "Don't misunderstand me. I don't want you to believe I'm not interested in you. Okay, I'll let that triple negative slide and do my best to avoid overanalyzing. Something INFJs tend to be very good at. I'm just too busy to give the relationship the time I want to give it," you said. Never have I claimed to need a lot of time. I even had to delete all my dating apps since I don't even have time to swipe. Someone said, "Retain the phone." You continued to swipe on dating apps. The infamous INFJ door smash, which abruptly removed someone from my life, was quickly followed. INFJs prioritize our close relationships with others above all else. Even while we enjoy our alone time, we also need to spend time with others who truly understand us, our kindred spirits, so that we can have insightful, thought-provoking talks. Consequently, we also need to have a strong mental and emotional connection with our romantic partner. It's a deal breaker for many other personality types as well, not just INFJs. I can now understand that there was no connection between us. INFJs seem to be predisposed to romantic mishaps for a number of reasons, as I've observed over the years. INFJs have these 5 problems in romantic relationships. 1. We don't go on dates merely for the sake of going on dates. If we can't envision a lasting relationship, we won't put up the effort. I lost count of the number of times my mother encouraged me to attempt a little casual dating. "You don't have to marry them," has probably been said to introverts like me 800 times. But the problem with INFJs is that we normally aren't interested if some sort of commitment isn't on the table. This is one of the reasons INFJs end relationships. Marriage is not a prerequisite for commitment. However, if we can't envision having a meaningful relationship with someone, we won't devote our limited social resources to them. 2. We detest casual talk meant to get to know each other since it leaves us feeling disconnected. Because it's untrue, I detest memes that claim all introverts despise people. Small conversation does not attract me, people do. However, since you're both trying to create a foundational understanding of each other, first dates kind of call for small talk. As a result, we frequently feel dissatisfied with the level of connection we have on a first date. However, when first dates are planned with introverts in mind, they may be amazing. Example is finding a game that asks the other person probing questions, or drinking coffee at a bookstore. 3. Deciding how we feel about someone can take some time. I frequently feel 3 steps behind when it comes to understanding my emotions. We are naturally sensitive to other people's emotions because we are INFJ extroverted feelers, yet this trait frequently prevents us from comprehending our own. Emotions. When it comes to romantic interests, I'm frequently so overwhelmed that it takes me a lot of time and energy to decide how I truly feel about someone. Most of the time, though, I get a pretty strong sense of who a person is and how we'll get along after one interaction. I've come to understand that it's acceptable to not be aware of how I'm feeling and to work through it at my own pace. 4. Even the most minute indications are picked up on by us. If I hadn't been hyper-aware of body language, intonation, and wording, I'm sure my ex, whatever we were, could have gotten away with letting me down easy when he said, "I'll see you around." INFJs have a propensity to pick up on even the most minute clues, giving the impression that we are a combination of a lie detector and a mood ring. If we tried to silence some of those incoming signals in INFJ relationships, it would certainly be easier for everyone involved, but that's not something I'm capable of doing. I therefore confront my partner when I believe they are not being completely sincere with me. Even though the truth hurts more, I'd still prefer to know it. 5. We have high ideals and idealistic standards. Both introverted and extroverted personality types frequently have high standards. INFJs, on the other hand, are idealists. We think that everyone has the capacity to improve themselves, and we anticipate that others will do the same. We often prefer it when we give far more than we receive. But if we wait too long without receiving any type of acknowledgement that we are valued equally, we become upset and begin to hate the other person for not making the same effort. Lower your standards, but don't let your guard down. I want to challenge and affirm our relationship building strategy as INFJs. Don't put too much stock in the past. INFJs frequently draw links to the past. As a result, we frequently jump ahead of ourselves and envision a whole relationship before it has even begun. I'm learning to wait until a person has a chance to demonstrate their true potential rather than assuming the worst based on past interactions. Give yourself time to think before you speak. One of my worst tendencies in relationships is to react without giving myself enough time to process all of my feelings. It can be challenging for INFJs to decide on an immediate course of action because they typically excel at seeing all sides of a problem. I'm less likely to offend or confound people by giving myself time to thoughtfully and alone assess how I feel before responding. Be truthful while describing your goals. My most recent dating misadventure left me feeling very irritated, in part because my date felt that we had similar aspirations for a relationship. I need a lot of alone time and typically don't have the stamina to see someone more than twice a week, but he had stated that he would prefer to spend time with his partner every day, at least initially. Being open about my expectations could help to avoid misunderstandings in the future and foster a more satisfying relationship. Give up attempting to figure out what went wrong. INFJs constantly strive to be better versions of ourselves. We reflect on the past to see how we might act differently in the future. 10 months have passed since the breakup you've been reading about, but I still periodically wonder if I did anything incorrectly, and if he and I could have reconciled if I'd taken a different course of action. Recognize your feelings, give yourself space to think, and then move on while recognizing that what is meant for you will be yours. This will prevent you from living in the past. Keep your standards high. We INFJs take pride in our capacity to treat everyone with respect and to let them know they are noticed and valued. But as we struggle to find that elusive soulmate, we give up and settle for someone who may not be deserving of the benefit of the doubt that we usually give to everyone we meet. Although seeing the world through rose-colored glasses is a lovely gift, you should be honest with yourself when you're idealizing someone and concentrating more on how they may be than how they actually are. What issues or suggestions about dating would you add? Comment below and let me know.